Hello everyone, Nina here with Waffle Flower. We're going back to basics with our January 2024 release. Many of you started your Waffle Flower collection with the A2 layer style. Did you know that we also offer additional layers, lacy layers, stitched rectangles, and frame dies for A2 size too? And with this release, we've introduced many basic nesting dies for other popular card making sizes too. Here's what I will cover in this video. Please feel free to jump to the part of the video you're interested in, following the time codes listed here. First thing first, the A2, A6, and A7 mentioned here and in all of our product names are all card sizes, not paper sizes. They're greeting card sizes commonly used in the US. For example, the A2 card size measures 4¼ by 5½ inches when folded, which is the same size as a quarter sheet of US letter-sized paper. For the rest of the world, where A4 paper is the most common, the closest carding envelope size to US A2 is C6. In other words, the US A6 card size is different from the A6 paper size. Here are the measurements for each card size we chose to use for the Waffle Flower product line. A2 and A7 are the same as the standard sizes you can buy from stores. However, the stars after the card sizes indicate that they are slightly different from store-bought sizes. We decided on these sizes because they suit our card making needs better. Take the A6 size for example. The store-bought size is 4 5/8 by 6 1/4, while the Waffle Flower size is 4 1/2 for the width. One reason for this difference is that even though US card sizes are used by most card makers no matter where they live, if you only have access to A4 paper, you can get very close by using Waffle Flower products designed for US A6 card size. Now, let's go over how to make the card bases for each of these sizes. There are two ways to make an A2 card base from US letter-sized paper. For top folding cards, trim the paper in half vertically and 4 1/4 and score in 5 1/2 to fold in half. For side folding cards, trim the paper in half horizontally in 5 1/2 and score in 4 1/4 to fold in half. Most of my A2 cards are top folding because they stand up well for display. I only use side folding A2 cards when having a horizontal design, so the fold can be at the top for easy display. To make the card base for A6 cards, I usually trim my cardstock to 6 1/4 by 9, then score in 4 1/2 to fold it in half. Remember to always fold to the back along your score lines and line up the edges before flattening down. To make the card base for A7 cards, I usually trim my cardstock to 7 by 10, then score in 5 to fold it in half. As mentioned earlier, there are two ways to make A2 cards, but we can only make side folding card bases for A6 and A7 from letter-sized paper. You can make a side folding mini slimline card base from letter-sized paper by trimming your cardstock to 6 by 7, then score in 3 1/2. If you have 12 by 12 paper, you can make a top folding mini slimline card base by trimming your cardstock to 3 1/2 by 12, then score in 6. There are many fun specialty papers available on the market to help make your card base unique and different. One thing to mention is that the envelope I use for the mini slimline card is the 6 3/4 envelope, and our mini slimline size is slightly shorter than this envelope size. but I think it's totally worth it to keep it at 6-inch long for the option of a top folding card base from 12 by 12 paper. As mentioned earlier, there are several versions for slimline cards on the market. Waffle Flower has chosen the folded size of 3.5 by 8.5 to make it easier to make from letter-sized paper. I will start with the A2 size and discuss the differences among these style options, hoping to help you decide which set is best for you. The layers die is a set of nesting rectangle dies with the largest rectangle sized at 4.25 by 5.5. This covers the entire A2 card front. Within each set, the die next to each other are a 1/4 inch apart. This means that they can offer a minimum of 1/8 inch all-around border when stacked and centered. All of the layers you see on screen are from the same die set. We alternated the cardstock colors so that they're easier to see in videos. The largest rectangle from the A2 additional layers die set is sized at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, which is the in-between size of the largest and the second largest rectangles from the A2 layers die. When used together, these two sets of dies can offer a minimum of 1/16 inch all-around border when stacked and centered. However, there is a downside for nesting so many dies in one set. Due to production limits, we have to make the die base really close to the die lines. If your die cut machine is new and tight, the extra pressure might squeeze the die too hard, the edges may turn out warped. One way to help ease the pressure in is to place your die at a slight angle on your cutting plate, so that a corner goes through the machine first. I always tape my dies down at the top and bottom to avoid shifting. One thing to note is that the thin base also means a higher chance for the base to leave an embossing line along the cut lines. If this bothers you, you might want to consider the other options we have. Starting with the Lacy layers option. This option is just one set of dies with alternating straight edges and scalloped edges. Each die comes with some decorative cut lines, either dashes or piercing details. With all the details, the die bases are thick enough that you keep them cut straight. I numbered my A2 layers die from large to small, and I'm using it as a reference to number my Lacy layers in the same sizes. This will help me quickly figure out what sizes might work together among the sets. A fun fact is that the dashed lines matches one of the layers from the A2 layers die too. I make reference cards like this for all my nesting dies. Next one up is the stitched version of the A2 rectangles. These came out before I have the naming rules set up, so it still says nesting stitched rectangles die on the package, but we have updated the name to be A2 stitched rectangles die on our website. This is a set of straight edge rectangles with dashed lines on both the inside and outside of the cut lines. This is a set for you if you like cutout windows with dashed details on the outside of the window. The largest die of this set actually cuts out a frame that is sized at 4.25 by 5.5. The inner cut of the window is the same size as layer 3 from the A2 layers die. This stitched version of dies is also available in circles, ovals, and squares up to the A2 size. Last but not least is a rectangle frame die. This set came out when we noticed many of our customers were using the A2 layers die to cut out frames for layering. This set of dies also have sturdy bases and are great for making shaker cards. And our foam strips work perfectly with them. The Waffle Flower foam strips come in two thicknesses, 1/8 inch and 1/16 inch. And they're available in both white and black. We designed a full frame of tape for the biggest frame from the frame die for a seamless finish around the edges. Here's how the layers stack when the frame's raised up with 1/8 inch thick foam strip. The frames version is also available in circles, ovals, squares, and hexagons up to the A2 size. To sum it up, there are 4 options available for nesting rectangles in Waffle Flower. The layers and additional layer styles that come in pairs for a minimum of 1/16 inch border, the lacy layers, the stitched rectangle style, and the frame style that are designed for layering with less bulk and great for making shaker cards. The same 4 options are available for A6, A7, and mini slimline sizes in the Waffle Flower product line. You could mix and match many of the layers for different card sizes too. Here's a list of the available options with our newly updated names. You probably noticed that there are only 2 options available for slimline size. This is because the cutting plates for all leading die-cut machines are now long enough for the 8.5 edge. The largest layer in the slimline layer style is actually a 1/4 inch smaller than the suggested card base. This is to accommodate the slight angle we needed for a straight cut with the same layer styles. The slimline lacy layer style still starts in 3.5 by 8.5 because the die bases are thick enough to be sent straight through most die-cut machines without warping. If you're looking beyond the basics, we also have the dotted and pinking frames collections. In the current Waffle Flower product line, you can choose from plain, pinking frames, stitched, and plain frame dies for circles and squares. Plain, stitched, and frame dies for ovals, plain and dotted dies for diamonds, and plain and frame dies for hexagons. These dies may not be noticeable in the finished project, but they are time savers for card makers and can be fun to play with on their own. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again soon.